Good evening, I'm Jeff Koinange, and this is Jeff Koinange Live. Tonight, what a year it's been. 2015 will no doubt go down as one of the most memorable in recent years. And what guests we've had right here on Jeff Koinange Live. Guests that made us laugh, cry, think, ponder, question. But most importantly, guests that kept the conversation going. Because as I always like to say, we have to keep talking. Because the moment we stop talking is the moment we start fighting. And you don't want to go down that slippery slope. Tonight and tomorrow night, we're going to bring you what we're calling the highlights of 2015. Shows that resonated with you, the viewers, that tugged at our heartstrings. It is going to be a show like you've never seen before. You can tweet us at Koinange Jeff, the hashtag we're using, JKL Best of 2015. Sit back as we show you the State of the Nation interviews tonight, what we call the political interviews. Tomorrow night, we'll show you the interviews that inspired you the most. Here now are the highlights of Jeff Koinange Live in 2015. These are serious times, gentlemen. These are serious times. When you see a headline like this, one-word headline, it says it all. Now let's call a spade a spade. 8 billion shillings. And before, by the way, there was 795 million shillings, which was supposed to have been stolen, and the CS and Waiguru came up and she said, I'm the whistleblower, this is what was going to be stolen. Nothing was stolen. A few months later, it turned out it was stolen. Come on, PLO, this is wrong. Let's call a spade and not a big spoon.
You know, Jeff, these are very sad times. And Barack and I this morning wrote a letter, joint letter to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, which was delivered in his office at 4 p.m. this afternoon, saying that we cannot afford to allow our country to go to the dogs. Never since we came to this program have we mentioned individuals by name.
Yeah.
But today we will.
Yeah, we have to.
The cabinet secretary for the time being in charge of devolution is a burden to the president, a burden to the country. We are not saying that she is guilty. We are simply saying that her name is featuring in every scandal in this country, and what happens in civilized countries is that she resigns. Because this country is not her country. This is our country. And if it is destroyed as it is being progressively destroyed, then all of us will suffer and we cannot afford the luxury of keeping quiet. How can it be that you claim to be a whistleblower, claim that you have saved millions, then you come a few months later and say, I told you that the money was not lost, now I say it is lost, and you continue to hold public office. It must not be allowed, it cannot be allowed, and we Kenyans must be angry at it, and she must be told that people don't resign because they have committed criminal offenses. The Volkswagen head resigned recently simply because of pollution.
Yeah.
The former president of Tanzania, Ali Hassan Mwinyi, resigned when he was the minister in charge of prisons because there was a prison breakout. In her case, it is being alleged that during her watch, individuals have perpetrated criminality. And it is not lost on me that when she came out, the very first thing that she did was to run a few individuals out of the office, Semelango in the youth fund, and now there is theft going out there. He ran out Rugut out of the National Youth Service, and theft is going on. Yeah. Please, my president, Miss Waiguru is now an albatross around your neck. She has the sedum touch, which means that everything she touches turns into clay. Get rid of her if she cannot resign.
And the worst part, PLO, is she's blaming everyone else. She's laying the blame on everyone else. Procurement officers, senior officials in our office. Who, Barack, tell me, the buck stops with who?
The buck stops at State House. I'm sorry, but that's where the buck rests. That is unless State House acts because this has been going on for a very long time now. We remember that at the start of this year, the head of state addressed the joint houses of parliament, and he said that he had drawn a very clear line on the ground and that there was going to be no crossing of that line. And he enjoyed a standing ovation in parliament. He enjoyed adulations by members of the public, myself included, the commentators, the pundits. We all said this is it, and we said we are giving the head of state the benefit of the doubt. And then Anne Waiguru comes up and she says that she's blown the whistle. People go for her with all barrels blazing. And some of us say, wait, give her time. Let her have her word. Let her have her say. In the fullness of time, it's happening that lots of horrific things have been happening in that ministry under her watch. And it now gets to a point even where the one who is most reluctant to suspend disbelief must now get back their disbelief and say, no, 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 it cannot be done that way. So within the ministry, the buck rests with the cabinet secretary. Mm-hmm. But if the cabinet secretary will continue being there, in spite of all the noise that is being made, in spite of all the shocking revelations, then we must ask the head of state, who is holding you hostage, Mr. President?
Dr.
Yes.
Sugar deal.
Yes.
The president goes to Uganda. Allegedly, some sugar deal was struck. We don't know if it was signed. We know it was struck to import sugar from Uganda. Mumias, of which you have been extremely outspoken about because of the thievery and the theft and the corruption that went on and dragged that company down. Mumias is down on its knees. Instead of importing sugar from Brazil, maybe it's better. Obviously, it seems better in any technical language to import from Uganda. In your assessment, Dr. What do you is it a good deal to import sugar from Uganda?
I want to thank you for inviting me on this very
Dr. You're always welcome, always welcome.
On this very important issue. And because I have come here to represent specific interests, and because I'm speaking from a position of the interest of the Republic of Kenya, I would like, for a start, to be clear which interest Dr. David Mathanga is defending, because to me, the people I defend today, the suppliers of Mumias, the people who do whatever kind of business with Mumias, the people who are losing jobs in the sugar industry, and the farmers are aware that this problem has come as a result of a meeting between the two heads of state, Uganda and Kenya. So I would like to know, does Mathanga represent the president of Uganda, or does he represent the president of Kenya, or both? So as to know how to engage him.
Mathanga?
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me on your show. And I promise you this time I will only bring facts. One, I'm a Ugandan by birth, born, bred. My mother, my father are Ugandans. I was born in Uganda in 1956. Brought up in a Christian family. Therefore, as I speak as one, a Ugandan, two, as an international person who has gone out of Uganda, who believes that Uganda is not alone in an island, but a global icon, a person who looks at things not parochially, not in a parochial manner. I look at a tribe as a nation, as my nation. But above all, there are nations. That's why I am.
So, and in this context, Dr. Mathanga, in this context, who do you represent?
Yes. The people of Uganda who are consumers. My mother, the only living soul on our line, 86 years old. She drinks this sugar. She does take Kenya products. Therefore, my brothers, my sisters, my cousins are just across Honorable Bone Kalwale's area. We intermarry, we interchange lots of things. So I represent one, my mother, two, my relatives, three, a nation, three, Africa, and above all, when Karwale talks of he wants to know, I have not come here in the capacity as an ambassador. I don't think I have ever acquired ambassadorial status, but I have done one thing. Whatever issues of this nature, there is one thing I have shown, that I will never condemn my country. I have patriotism.
Okay, so you think that deal was good then?
First of all, let's clear this mess. Maybe Doc has never studied international relations. There are two things: a communique and an agreement or a deal. I want to ask, do you have that agreement? Do you have?
Maybe.
Let's go slowly.
Maybe.
You have asked me. A communique is a document that captures. Let me now teach.
So now you're saying that there may not be
I'm
a deal.
teaching him.
Are you saying there may not be a deal?
Let me help you.
It is. Let me tell you.
Okay,
The deal.
okay, Dr. Arista.
No.
Wait.
As far as,
You are cutting me short.
I'm not cutting you short.
I have not finished. A communique was issued where various stakeholders of the businesses from Kenya and the businesses from Uganda sat down and talked about a number of things. That's a communique. A deal is which specifies how many tons, how many lorries, which points the sugar will enter. That's a deal.
So you're saying there's no deal?
It is not there.
Okay.
What
right.
these people
Hold
are
that
shouting
thought.
is a communique.
Hold that thought.
It's a communique.
Sorry.
Jeff, what viewers should understand is that Dr. David Mathanga is not new. He's an activist of everything and anything. He's best known for his activism in defending the interests of certain people at the ICC, not just in Kenya, but in other areas as well. And therefore, it is not surprising that that activism of his has now come onto the critical issue of sugar. Just to disabuse what you have just said about my lack of training in international affairs. It is true. I've not been trained in international affairs. I've been trained in medicine. But unlike you, who is an activist,
Yes.
I have served as a representative of the executive in the East African community, as an assistant minister, where I went through all that it takes for an agreement to be converted into a tool of doing trade. So at the moment, honorable members who are watching us today, the truth is I do not need to walk into this press conference or into this TV show with any document. The admission by President Uhuru and the admission by President Museveni that this deal was signed is enough for us then to premise our discussion on it. So my understanding is that yes, the deal was struck and we have to face the consequences as I am doing now.
Bottom line, good deal, bad deal.
It was a very bad deal.
When you were last here, we were talking in particular about the upcoming visit of President Barack Obama.
Yes.
And I asked you, look, is he going to shake Deputy President William Ruto's hand?
Yes.
And you said?
Well, I think first of all you are asking the question because in fact, Mr. Obama, President Obama did end up shaking Mr. Ruto's hand. I think a lot of people who listened to me heard what they wanted to hear. And what they heard was not what they think they heard. I said that it would be a big mistake, a diplomatic faux pas, a kind of a historic mistake for the Kenyan state to make, to put Mr. Ruto, a man who is indicted for crimes against humanity at the International Criminal Court, to put him in the pathway of President Obama, to be able to shake his hand. Now, I must say that initially I was gratified because when Mr. Obama appeared at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Mr. Ruto was nowhere to be found. Apparently, he had been closeted somewhere and locked away so that he does not embarrass Mr. Kenyatta. But it appears that somewhere during the visit, I think either pressure was brought to bear on Mr. Kenyatta to allow Mr. Ruto to appear in public. And so Mr. Ruto did appear in public and in fact shook Mr. Obama's hand.
You still think it was a big mistake?
I think it was a big mistake. What I said was that he should not shake his hand. I never said that he would not shake his hand. He should not shake his hand.
Right.
Yeah.
And it happened.
It happened.
A couple of weeks later, ICC comes up with a ruling
Yes.
that recanted testimony from witnesses
Yes.
can be used in that case.
Yes.
Unprecedented with the ICC. It's never happened before.
Well, I think, Jeff, as a jurist, when I look at an international tribunal, I'm looking at how competent the tribunal is, how effective it is, and can it deliver justice to victims. I'm looking at those things. Now, international tribunals suffer from several defects. One defect in particular is that international tribunals do not have the police. They don't have their own police forces to be able to arrest people. They don't have their own mechanisms for protecting witnesses, really. They rely on the goodwill of states to do that. The ICC does. This is one of the biggest weaknesses of the ICC. That is why the cases against Mr. Kenyatta and against Mr. Ruto have really turned on witnesses. This has been the biggest, if you will, difference maker in those cases. A lot of the witnesses recanted their evidence. Others disappeared. Apparently others were eliminated. I mean, I don't have, hard evidence to back that up, but I think it's been reported, by various media to that effect. What the ruling did, which is based on the revised Rule 68 of the Rules of Procedure and Evidence of the ICC, what that did was to make it unprofitable for a sinister suspect, and I want to emphasize sinister suspect, who might interfere with witnesses, who might make them recant their statements, who might even eliminate them, is to make it unprofitable for such a suspect to do that, because prior recorded statements of those witnesses will speak either from the grave or from wherever they are. Yeah. So it's the rule seeks to cure a very serious defect within the ICC structure.
Let me play devil's advocate, Bob, and ask you, what if the witness had been coerced financially, somehow they were coerced to say what they had said initially?
Witnesses can be coerced. We all know that. Witnesses can be intimidated. And witnesses can be coerced and intimidated by either side, either by the defense or by the prosecution. It happens all the time in national jurisdictions. However, there's a peculiarity about the ICC cases, in Kenya, against Mr. Kenyatta and against Mr. Ruto. Virtually all the witnesses who have recanted their testimonies, or who have refused to testify, or who have disappeared, are witnesses who belong to the prosecution. So I think what the court was looking at here is a pattern that was being established. And I believe that the court was convinced that a pattern does exist in which it is plausible to believe that witnesses have been tampered with. And that is the basis upon which recanted testimony was then allowed. Don't forget as well that, that these statements were taken from witnesses, but the witnesses swore to the truth of these statements. They swore to the truth of these statements. Now, the question is going to arise at the end of the day when the judges admit those statements. In rendering judgment, they are going to ask themselves, what kind of weight, what we call in law probative value, are they going to place on those statements? Yeah, and so I would say that people should not panic. The Rule 68 is a good rule. It seeks to make it unprofitable for a suspect to tamper with witnesses, and that's a good thing.
Wow, what sound bites, what amazing guests we've had in 2015. And that's just the beginning. The highlights of Jeff Koinange Live 2015 takes a break. Plenty of the best of 2015 coming up in a moment.